Let's talk about Ahsoka. Hello, everyone. I haven't made a video in this particular format in a while, and looking forward to it. I really enjoy ranting about things I don't like. So, Ahsoka. Um, now, as a point of reference, while I go into this review here, I have not seen Rebels at all. I've seen the first two seasons of Clone Wars. I know things about Ahsoka as a character, but I haven't experienced the full journey of her. Maybe I will at some point. I don't know. I have a lot of stuff on my watch list at the moment, being the film watcher, of course, but I don't know. I was kind of looking forward to this show because, like, oh, Star Wars, yay. That's about how I get about Star Wars shows nowadays because they have disappointed me a lot, and I mean a lot. But th- I I'd say this is one of the better ones we've gotten in the past few years. It is most certainly better than The Mandalorian season 3. That was a train wreck and a disaster on almost every level, and I don't understand like how it was able to be as bad as it was. This show kind of falls into that like mediocre category. I didn't like it that much, but I also didn't hate it, and I liked some things about it. So, the finale, of course, came out today, or the day that I'm filming this, which is Wednesday. Actually, technically, it came out yesterday, but I I like to sleep, so whatever. Um, and let me start with the first two episodes here. They are not good. I did not like them. The first time I watched them was at like 1 in the morning with a couple of my friends at one of my buddies' houses, and that was fun because basically what we did for the length of these two episodes was viciously mock all the things wrong with them, and there were a lot. I do not. The first episode is I'd call it bad. It is a bad episode. I don't get how Dave Filoni can direct an episode like this and then also direct episode 5, which we'll get to later. But it was so flat and dull, and it just moved so slowly. And I don't know, I wasn't invested in anything that was happening. And admittedly, maybe a part of that is because I'm not fully caught up on the Clone Wars Rebels area of Star Wars, but maybe that's why. But I don't know. I feel like that limitation is only gonna be a limitation for so long. Like I it was just such a weirdly directed episode. The dialogue feels so basic and dumb, and I don't like to use the word basic to describe things because it just, like so many words nowadays, it feels overused. But like, that's what this episode felt like to me. It was all like the most bare bones, boring dialogue that just kind of got the point across and did nothing else. Like that's it. I particularly remember one scene when Ahsoka and Hera are talking, and it's like Ahsoka's like the return of the last Grand Admiral. She pauses for a second and she goes, "Thrawn. Thanks. There's no other person in Star Wars with the title of Grand Admiral, so thank you very much for that." And it was like, it just felt so bland and uninteresting, like a feeble, lame imitation of Star Wars, a point that I will return to several times throughout the video. So yeah, this first episode definitely did not win me over. The second episode didn't really either. I rewatched those first two episodes just to get a clear picture of them when I wasn't tired and when I was, in a proper critical mindset. And yeah, they didn't really improve. I don't understand what it is about modern Star Wars, and just, do they not like lightsabers anymore? Are they not cool? Do they not sell enough toys nowadays? Like, what is it with people getting stabbed in the chest by lightsabers and then just being perfectly fine? Like, like the next day. Like it happened to Reva in Kenobi. She got stabbed, and then she was fine. I don't know about, like, sure, she had a hole in her chest, but she was able to walk around and move and stuff like that, and chase after child Luke Skywalker. There was no reason for her to be in that last episode, but she was anyway, because she survived getting stabbed in the chest by a lightsaber. And that same thing happened with Sabine Wren, who admittedly, it was like, I enjoyed her in these first 2 episodes. Not really throughout the rest of the season, but, you know, I kind of did in these first 2 episodes. She was kind of fun, in contrast to the boring Ahsoka. But anyway, she gets stabbed by a lightsaber. The next day, she's fine. It doesn't make any, like, I don't need to hit on this point anymore. It's dumb. I don't understand why modern Star Wars does it. Like the sequel trilogy, as many problems as there are in there, and there are plenty. Lightsabers do damage. Like, a lot of it. It is a laser sword. If you get stabbed if you get a hole in your chest near the heart area, you're probably gonna die. And so, like, it doesn't make any sense. And as for Ahsoka herself, like, I understand what they were going for with her being this, like, kind of bitter, cynical person because her background was just so messed up, the way she was trained, the environment in which she was trained. That kind of makes sense, but she's such a boring character for these first 4 episodes, and it's like, Rosario Dawson, like, I feel like they could have done something interesting with that. It could have been hinted at in the performance, but no. Rosario Dawson does exactly what I did at the beginning of this video. All she does, whenever someone says anything, is like, looking mildly concerned at best. And it's just not it is not a lead performance level. Like, there's so little emotion being expressed. And then you get to episode 5, and it's like, okay, I see what they were doing and why she was so closed off and reserved. But, like, even after that, she's not that interesting of a character. And maybe it's because I don't have the background, but you know what? I can only use that as an excuse for so long. She's just, there's not a ton done with her beyond episode 5, where she gets kind of this character arc within that one episode. But that's like all they had to do with her, and it took up 1 episode, and then she just doesn't do anything. And that applies to a lot of the characters. Like, it's like they have one singular thing that they need to do, and once they've done it, there's nothing else to do with them. They're just kind of there. Like, the same thing I'd say about Sabine, because she's on this quest to find Ezra. She does. And, you know, they get some fun banter, and his return is cool, and I like the guy that plays him a lot. I thought he was a good character. I enjoyed him. But, like, after that, Sabine just kind of does nothing. And on the topic of characters, we get Baylan Skoll, who I really liked for the first, like, you know, throughout the show. He was a good character. But I always got the feeling with him, and as well as Shin, that those two could have been so much better if they'd spent, like, any time fleshing them out beyond, like, the most surface level of things. That's what this show feels like. It's all surface level stuff. They never go into anything to make it, like, more interesting at all, and it's just so kind of, it's annoying. Like, I want to get more invested in these characters because I like Baylan, I like Shin. These are cool characters conceptually, but they just do so little with them, to the point where you get to the finale, they have, like, silent cameos at the very end where Shin just kind of raises her lightsaber to a bunch of bandits. Okay, and Baylan's on top of a mountain shaped like a man. What? Like, what? Like, they set up interesting ideas for these characters, and they just do absolutely nothing with them. They're just left stranded on this planet, and, you know, maybe they're gonna get more to do later on. They probably will, but like, well, they can't because Ray Stevenson unfortunately passed away. So yeah, like, this is the last time we're ever gonna see Balin's skull. Which obviously wasn't planned when they wrote the show, but, like, seriously, what was going on here? Like, what? Every single aspect of this series feels so bare bones. Like, so, dare I say it, basic. And I'm gonna come back to the point I made earlier. It feels like a lame, lackluster imitation of, like, what Star Wars should be, or what it once was. Like, there are a couple moments in this show, certainly, where it gets to the level of, oh, this feels like classic Star Wars, and then it just gets to the boring, meh material, and that's so much of the show, and it drags it down so hard. It bothers me that you know, because there's elements here, there's ideas for characters that, like, could make it a lot more interesting, and it's just not. I feel like Dave Filoni as a writer is simply not, for whatever reason, just does not seem interested in going deep into any character. Like, I feel like his goal is to get action and, like, some cool moments, and I feel like he only really puts his all into it when he's writing about something that he's already written before, like when they do the Clone Wars flashbacks, and that's really cool, but, like, that's the only thing that feels like it reaches its full potential, whereas everything else is just kind of flattened by the mediocrity of this series. And I really wish I liked it more. I do, but, like, I just don't. It's such a dull show to me. It feels like it meanders through a bunch of stuff. Like, we spend so much time. All the episodes are 50 minutes long, and, like, I could not distinguish one episode from another beyond, like, the one where Anakin shows up, or the first one, which I remember is by far the worst of them. And, like, I didn't think there was anything that terrible in this show, but, like, there's just nothing interesting at all except the stuff they do with Anakin. Like, that's it. And, like, I wasn't invested in so much of what was happening, and it annoyed me, because I want to be excited for Star Wars, but to be quite honest, I do not care about anything that happens after this show. Am I gonna watch something with Thrawn in it? Yes. Thrawn was awesome. I will talk about him in a second, but I am not interested in seeing the journey of Ahsoka and Sabine escaping this planet. Like, because of where they're left off, I don't really care about seeing much more of Balin and Shin. Because, like, what were their endings? The whole final episode just feels like such a non-conclusion. Like, yes, Thrawn goes back. That was very much hinted at. And then Ahsoka and Sabine are like, they're just on this planet, and then they get a shot of Anakin, which is really cool, once again. But it doesn't mean anything. It feels hollow and shallow and lazy, and, like, it feels like the ending, they had so little material for it, and then they were like, let's put Anakin in there. Oh, yeah, Anakin! Oh, this is a great ending, man. I don't care about the mediocre crap I just witnessed for the first 40 minutes of this. It's Anakin! No, that's not how this works, you fools. I don't know. The same thing applies to Balin and Shin. Like, it really does feel like they just thought, what could they do on this planet? She goes to the bandit guys that were in the couple episodes before. Yeah, and she does something. I don't know. And then Balin goes to find himself or something. I don't know. I did not like really any of that. I also really don't like Morgan Elsbeth. I think she's such a boring character. I don't care about the whole Night Sisters thing, really, but I don't know. Her performance just felt so blah, and like, I don't know. I think it's kind of an interesting idea for a character, sort of, but like the actress just has the same like expression of I don't know, she just kind of looks around and looks amazed at things, and it's simply not interesting. Don't care about her. I don't like what they did with her in the last episode, except kill her. That I'm fine with, because as I said before, I don't like her. I was bored by this show a lot, and I don't like it. You know what? Let's talk about some good stuff about the show. The music is very good. I will say that. So it's not like John Williams, but I mean, what is? But you know, it's pretty good. It works. Thrawn is such a good villain. He's such a cool villain. Like, sure, he looks a little bit like Elon Musk. I don't care. He's such a cool villain. Like, he has this really like intricate way of speaking, this calculating vibe that he always has. Like, he's 10 steps ahead of everyone else. It's really fun to see him humiliate Morgan Elsbeth, because I really don't like her. I don't know. But yes, Thrawn is a very, very cool villain. I liked him a lot. And it was cool to see him. I've read a little bit of the Heir to the Empire book, the first one, but I haven't that's like the only experience I've had with Thrawn, and it was very cool to see him. I also very much like Huyang, the droid. He was funny. He was like C-3PO. If C-3PO was competent and brave and not a coward. And I kind of enjoyed that. He was a lot of fun. David Tennant is a spectacular voice actor, and he does a lot of cool stuff with this character. Speaking of C-3PO, he was there. It was cool to see him. I don't really know why he was there, but like he was there. It was kind of cool. I don't know. To be quite honest, I felt like C-3PO's cameo was just like a thoroughly unnecessary nod, but it was kind of nice to see him, I guess. I don't know. I did like that the show has like some Star Wars type scene transitions where it does like a swipe or like a expandy thing. I don't know what the names of transitions are, but like, yeah, it was kind of cool. And now let's talk about the best part of the show, and that's Hayden Christensen. Now, I haven't talked about like originals, prequels, Star Wars all that much on this channel, but I would like to at some point. And as this is not going to be a hot take at all, Hayden Christensen is terrible in the prequels. Terrible. It's not all his fault. George Lucas is just I don't really know what he does to these actors, but for whatever reason he just produces the worst performances. Natalie Portman is an Oscar-winning actress. She won an Oscar like 5 years after Revenge of the Sith, and yet she's just kind of in those movies. But back to Hayden Christensen. He's by far the worst actor in the prequels, and there's a pretty good amount of bad acting in the prequels. He's like really bad. His line delivery is terrible, and like, okay, you can blame George Lucas all you want, and he is absolutely partially to blame there. And as much as Hayden Christensen has been well cast, I feel like some of that is on him for the bad line delivery. Like, he's the one giving the performance. That, like, George Lucas, as much as he might have been directing, he's not a puppet master. He's not controlling what he's doing. So, you know, I don't know. Maybe he made a lot of the choices, but either way, Hayden Christensen was simply not good. I don't know. But here, if Disney Star Wars has done one thing, it is redeem Hayden Christensen through Kenobi, which he wasn't in that much, but it was kind of cool to see him, and he was actually good. And then this, where he gets to be like full on, not just Clone Wars Anakin, but like Darth Vader Anakin. When he first showed up at the end of episode 4, I think it looked a little bit weird, but throughout the 5th episode, I think he looked fine. He looked great, especially with the Clone Wars getup that he had. The Clone Wars flashbacks, I think, were done incredibly well. No matter, I've heard conflicting reports of Ahsoka was like too young for the time in which that took place, but I think Ariana Greenblatt did a great job. And I think the way this episode was handled, with how they kind of incorporated Ahsoka's arc of, she's becoming a little bit more hopeful through her journey with her master, and I think that came across very well. And Anakin, it didn't feel like fan service. It really, really did feel natural to the character. And I think it was very well done. And once again, Hayden Christensen gave such a good performance. He felt like Anakin, and it was so good. Like, I don't know any other way to describe it. It was just really, really good. And the times when he was like, going evil and attacking Ahsoka, that is the first time I have ever felt any type of correlation between Hayden Christensen's delivery and James Earl Jones's delivery. The line, I think it was either incorrect or you lack conviction. But it was whatever line he said when he was about to go to attack Ahsoka. It was done. It was so well delivered, and I felt that, and I was like, "Oh my God, he's Darth Vader. This is the same guy that's gonna become Darth Vader." And in the same vein, the shots where it's like he's walking into this fog, and then you get these flashing lights, and Vader just kind of appears. The silhouette appears, and the same thing with when he's coming out of the fog, and you hear the, that was very cool. Dave Filoni may not be the best director. I don't think he's, if I was just basing this on the first episode, I'd say he's not a good director, but based on this 5th episode, he's a pretty good director. I think he did a lot of cool stuff with it, like those shots in particular, spectacular. And I don't know, it's nice to see Hayden Christensen do some good acting. And though we may never hear James Earl Jones voice Darth Vader again, because he retired, stopped using AI to replace James Earl Jones. They did that in Kenobi, I think, and just don't do that. I don't know. But yes, as much as we may be done hearing new lines from James Earl Jones as Darth Vader, it was still incredibly cool to see him there. So that's Ahsoka. I'm gonna drop my notes. I took lots of them. Also, the action was kind of blah. The whole show was, I didn't really like it. It was fine. It was whatever for the most part, but I didn't enjoy it all that much. I think it did some nice things for, progressing Ahsoka a little bit, and it did kind of fully redeem Hayden Christensen for all the kind of bad acting he did before, because now he's a good actor, and he will, I think, always be remembered as such. And I think that's well deserved. That guy deserved some redemption after the whole sand thing. Whatever. This is not the worst Star Wars show. I think Book of Boba Fett is worse. Was not crazy about Andor. I don't know. Whatever. I didn't like Andor. I didn't like this very much either, but you know, at least it was better than Mandalorian season 3. So those are my thoughts on Ahsoka. Comment your own down in the below, and keep calm and watch out.